Let me ask you something. Have you ever opened your bank app and immediately felt stress? Like your heart drops before the numbers even load. You already know what you're going to see. A few $100s, maybe less. And then your brain starts doing that survival math. If I don't eat out this week, if I delay this bill, maybe I can survive until next month. You promise yourself that once you make more money, everything will change. But somehow, it never really does. Because here's the truth most people never realize. It's not about how much money you make. It's about the first time you reach a number that changes how your brain works. And for most people, that number is $5,000. Look, it sounds small, but this number changes your psychology more than your first $50,000. And today, I'm going to explain why. My name is Neuro, and I spend way too much time thinking about how money rewires the human brain. If you feel stuck living paycheck to paycheck, and you want to finally take control of your financial future, subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Because what I'm about to show you can completely change how you think about money. The first $5,000 is not about money. It's about power. It's about control. And most importantly, it's about breaking the survival mindset. The trap most people fall into. Look, society tells you something. They tell you that when you start making more money, you should upgrade your life. Better car, better phone, better lifestyle. But this is the trap. Because the moment your income increases, your expenses increase too. This is called lifestyle inflation. And this is why people earning $100,000 still feel broke. Here's the thing. The real problem is not low income. It's the absence of a financial buffer. And this is where $5,000 becomes dangerous. In a good way. The math nobody teaches. Imagine you have zero savings. Every unexpected expense becomes a crisis. Car breaks, crisis. Medical bill, crisis. Laptop dies, crisis. So your brain stays in survival mode. And when your brain is in survival mode, you don't think strategically. You think short-term. You avoid risks. You choose comfort. But now imagine something different. You wake up and see $5,000 in your account. Same job, same life. But your brain changes. Because now problems are annoying, not fatal. And this single shift unlocks something powerful. Strategic thinking. Scarcity versus abundance. Being broke is not just financial, it's psychological. When resources are low, your brain focuses only on survival. But when you have a buffer, your brain switches to growth. You start asking different questions. How can I grow? How can I invest? How can I increase my income? This is where it gets really interesting, because the first $5,000 is usually the first time in your life you feel safe enough to think long-term. And long-term thinking is where wealth is built. The reality most people ignore. Nearly 40% of people can't handle a $400 emergency. So when you reach $5,000, you're already ahead of almost half the population. Not because you're rich, but because you're mentally free. This is the turning point. Because desperation is expensive, and confidence is profitable. The identity shift. Now you might be thinking, $5,000 won't change my life. You're right. It doesn't change your life. It changes your behavior. And behavior changes your future. The moment you reach that number, you prove something to yourself. You prove that you can control your impulses. You prove that you can delay gratification. And that's the same skill that builds wealth. The compounding effect. This is where it gets really interesting. Because the first $5,000 makes the next $5,000 easier. Saving becomes normal. Investing becomes natural. You stop panicking. You start optimizing. And once you optimize your life, growth accelerates. This is compounding. Not just money, but mindset. What you should do now. So here's what you can do starting today. First, define your $5,000 as non-negotiable. This is not savings. This is survival capital. Second, automate your system. Remove willpower from the process. Third, increase your income. Cutting small expenses won't make you rich, but high-value skills will. Fourth, celebrate small wins. Every $100 builds your identity. And finally, visualize freedom. Because your brain needs a reason to sacrifice today. Look, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be rich. You just need to cross this psychological barrier. Because once you do, your brain will never go back. You stop chasing comfort. You start chasing control. And that's where real wealth begins. If this helped you, subscribe and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because most people stay poor, not because they lack money, but because they never change how they think. And remember, follow NeuroStick if you want to master money.